Welcome to the first day of February 2022. This Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. You're going to want to check out the Chugwater Chili Red Pepper Jelly. You know the Super Bowl's coming up. Not only could you make a big pot of chili for the Super Bowl, but make a dipping sauce for glaze for meats. Make an appetizer using cream cheese and crackers. So check out the Chugwater Chili Red Pepper Jelly. Go to chugwaterchili.com and get 20% off if you use the code ChugwaterDon at checkout. Nice shot from Fremont County, Wyoming. The Wind River Indian Reservation here is where this shot comes from. We've just had some remarkable sunrises and sunsets this winter and more to come. Well, that's a good way to describe the next 48 to 72 hours. While this will not be a long-lasting Arctic shot, it'll be a pretty intense one. Arctic air is oozing in. Sometimes Arctic fronts blast in. Well, for this part of the country, we're not going to see that. Now, as the front goes further south and east, it's going to have a big impact. We're going to see a good chance of snow. The heaviest snow will be in southeastern Wyoming, eastern Colorado, western Nebraska and Kansas, parts of northeast New Mexico, into Texas and Oklahoma. Ooh, it's going to get nasty, folks, especially to the south and east of here. Other areas of light snow will fall, but those areas I just outlined is where we're going to have travel problems. Stock growers, be prepared for severe cold over the next 3 days. We're going to have hazardous travel. I-25, I-70, I-76, I-80, maybe all the way down to Interstate 40 and roads and highways heading into the central and southern areas of the United States. We'll show you that here in a minute. Now, we do see Arctic air easing some by Friday and Saturday. So this is going to be a transient Arctic shot, which means temperatures will rebound. We get a little bit of a Chinook. And as we mentioned yesterday, the pattern that's evolving is that we're going to have these alternating cold waves in February, which means we get a cold wave, we warm up, we get a cold wave, we warm up. Up and down is how temperatures will go, but the downs are going to be more intense than the ups with temperatures and conditions. And every time the temperature goes down, precipitation chances are going to go up. Now, if you were to look at this satellite photo, you would say, what's going on? I really don't see any big swirl of clouds. I don't see really anything really intense, but two things I want to show you. See these clouds stretching southwest to northeast from the desert southwest into the central Rockies and plains? Well, this is a fetch of Pacific air getting drawn this way by the curving jet stream coming in from the northwest. So there's the moisture. Now, you can't see Arctic air sometimes on these infrared satellite photos, but you do see these clouds up in Montana. Some of these blue areas are lower clouds in northeastern Wyoming. The Arctic air is about right here and pushing south. And what will happen is this Arctic air will come down along the divide like this, and then the Pacific moisture comes over and on top of it, and that's where you're going to get your snow. And you can see that very well here in the 500 millibar chart. We've got the curving jet stream coming right here, winds aloft, bringing in that Pacific moisture, but the winds aloft here are coming in at a different angle. So all of this comes together, and as you get into the afternoon hours of Wednesday, we've got a trough over the Four Corners area, moving through fairly quickly. It's not what we call a closed low, but it's going to throw warmer, moist air on top of the Arctic air, and that is guaranteed to make it snow. It's one of those high confidence situations. It's not so much where the low is or where we're having the best upslope. It's just a collision of air masses, and that is a very high probability to make it snow, especially along and east of the divide. Now, just to kind of give you a hint at the scope that this Arctic wave is going to have in the United States, the lower 48 states, in the next couple of days. Anywhere you see purple and pink here, these are all winter weather advisories, with the pink being a winter storm warning. So we've got a winter storm warning over a huge swath of real estate. Then winter storm warnings from north central New Mexico to the Front Range of Colorado, surrounded by winter weather advisories. Blizzard warnings for eastern North Dakota due to some snow and blowing and drifting snow and bitter cold wind chills. And winter weather advisories for the mountain areas up here. But look at this area of the United States. Now, if you were to add up the population, you're looking at a lot of people and a lot of roads and interstates really being impacted by this storm. Closer to home, this is the precipitation pattern that we'll see through Friday morning with this system. There's going to be a nice pocket of some needed moisture there. Then look at the Front Range right on the divide and east of the divide and along the Cheyenne Ridge is where the bigger snows will fall. Lighter snows will fall elsewhere, but won't be nearly as impressive. Now, if we were to convert that to snow, you can see some pretty impressive snows here along the divide in Colorado. Look at this in southwest Kansas and southeast Colorado. They really need the moisture here. This is really good news. This will be the second week in a row precipitation has fallen in eastern Colorado and western Kansas. But look how far south the snow's getting into Texas. Look how far the south and east into Kansas and Oklahoma that colder air is getting. Now, one thing about these Arctic fronts and this overrunning situation where Pacific air comes over the Arctic air, you tend to have the heaviest snow fall along the terrain features where the upslope is a bit more intense and that Pacific air coming over the Arctic air is enhanced a bit. And this really shows up well. So this is focusing in on the Denver area right here. What I want to show you is notice the heavier snow is along the higher terrain along the Wyoming-Colorado border. We call this the Cheyenne Ridge. As the Arctic air gets packed up against the ridge and that Pacific moisture comes over, it creates like a bubble. Basically, there's a bulge in the Arctic air, so the air has to rise up a bit more, and that causes more snow to fall. Notice the I-25 corridor here, and notice east of I-25, snow amounts are lighter. West of I-25, snow amounts are a lot heavier. And this is a typical situation. We call this cold air damming. As the Arctic air spills down along the front range, it causes that same bubble as the Cheyenne Ridge does, and that air gets pushed over and enhances the snow. It also enhances the snow right here along the Palmer Divide. The plains are going to get snow, but along and west of I-25 for you Colorado folks, be ready. It's going to be an Arctic snow, which means it's going to be a very fluffy, powdery snow. You can see the high country, the mountains, the ski areas of central and northern Colorado should get some good snow out of this as well. Now let's back up and take a look at the big picture. You can see the swath of winter weather in the form of snowfall. There are going to be some areas right here in this axis that get over a foot of snow over the next couple of days with this system, as well as the snow here in the western high plains. Look at the extent of the snow potential into Mexico and far south Texas with this system. This is the forecast for accumulated freezing rain. So there's snow on the northern areas. In the middle, you have freezing rain. Now you're talking about a lot of power lines, wind turbines getting iced up here. This is going to be a major winter weather event over the next couple of days. Then if you look at the sleet forecast, wow, what a wintry mix that's going to be. Look at these temperatures by Thursday afternoon in Texas relative to 30-year averages. Look at eastern and southeastern New Mexico, and look at the purple getting all the way into Mexico and all the way to the Rio Grande. We're going to see freezing temperatures as far south as Houston here before the week is over. Now, I want to talk briefly about La Nina and kind of where we're at. People are emailing me some questions about, is this going to be a 3-year La Nina like we had in 99, 2000, and 2001? Well, as I showed you a week ago, the western parts of the La Nina area were starting to show some warming, and that continues. The coldest temperatures are out in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean. And if we were add up the heat content, especially in this area right here, we've definitely seen a warming trend. And I'll show you a graphic here in a minute that will show that. But let's take a look. This is from January 29th, the latest sea surface temperature report. If we were to go back to the year 2000 for the same time, notice the Pacific was much colder over a much wider area than where we are right now. So it's not a perfect analog to 2000. 2000, the cold waters were much more intense, especially right here, as compared to where they are right now. Also, this is encouraging. This is the upper heat content of the ocean, close to the surface, between 100 degrees west and 180 degrees west longitude. Basically out there in the central and western Pacific, where we're starting to see the sea surface temperature changes. Now this goes all the way back to February of 2021. We had La Nina to start last winter. We had this little respite. That ended up helping the spring, early part of spring being more wet. And then as soon as we got the summer, we went right back into the throes of a strong La Nina. Now, look what's happened right here. We got some orange again. So this is encouraging. It's not to say it could go back into the blue, but trend is your friend in long-range weather forecasting. And so this shows a continued slow erosion of La Nina in the western Pacific. So that's something that's good to see. Now let's go out further. The next frontal system that's going to come through the region, this is for Saturday morning, is a bit of a quick-moving Pacific cold front that'll be coming through the northern and central Rockies. This will produce a little bit of snow up into Montana, especially the mountain areas, parts of the Pacific Northwest. I think there's going to be some snow showers across portions of Montana and Wyoming and maybe the mountains of Colorado this weekend with this wave. And unfortunately, there's going to be some wind. But it's going to be a quick-moving wave. High pressure continues to keep the West Coast dry. This is the next stronger wave. This is by Tuesday night and Wednesday. Another one coming. Now, this one will probably be stronger. Notice it's a little more west. So this will likely drag in some Arctic air and bring some potential for snow again towards the middle of next week. We continue to see that high in the same place. We continue to see that high in the same place in the North Atlantic. This is going out to basically Valentine's Day. The high pressure ridge is a little bit further west. Big dip in the jet stream, potentially right around that Valentine's Day period, so the middle of February. This low here could end up meaning, hopefully, some rain moving back into California and Sierra snow. I will tell you that if this transpires, this is for Arctic, very cold Arctic air, potentially around the middle part of February again. So everything continues to show this back and forth in the month of February with some ups and downs, but the downs being pretty darn cold. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.